Hi again, everyone, and welcome to the East County Prep Football Preview for Week 5. Dave, we're approaching the halfway point of the season here. We're almost ready for league play. We have a couple of the Grossmont Conference crossover games this week. We have Titanic blockbuster tilts involving our top 10 teams. We've also got some highly popular section rivalry matchups here this weekend. And Santee, they'll just take the week off, couple of buys for Santana and West Hills. But we'll preview Dave 10 games here for all on Friday night here this week. And great set of games. Certainly, we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll even talk about last week's games as well. Week 5, Dave.
Well, I think we had more disappointments for the East County teams last week, but we also had some triumphs. Monta Vista pulled one out, and we got to have a good time with those guys. Had plenty to chat about, and how they are such a the intelligence level of those kids, and the way that they hang out after practice. They're team on the field to the team off the field. They're a brotherhood. They're hanging out, talking football after school. I mean, what a great program. What a great group of kids we got to talk with. Coach Colbert's got a really good program. You know, he's gone off of how long Hamamoto coached those kids, and I think that they've both done just a great job with a smaller school, and they always have to go both ways. But what a game, and what a great group of kids.
You think of our schedule this week, and there are some games. Our top teams playing some out of section and out of conference games. But we've got this week Monta Vista and El Capitan, which is going to be just a real intriguing game with the two of our teams, right? With El Capitan taking their championship and leaving over, going to the Hills League. We know it's not necessarily their choice, but they've been dominating, so they got to go up there for a couple years and look to get better. They played a tough schedule, but Monta Vista, just a real interesting matchup, especially with, I don't know, Monta Vista's done a nice job with their offense this season, but man, these games in Lakeside, but we'll preview that one and the other ones as well. Thank you for being here, Dave, and thank you to everyone in the chat that wants to join us. My house store Dean, he'll want to talk Army Navy football. Here's Warriors continue to look good. Thank you, Dean, for being in here and keeping us on our toes. And also, Dave, we'll talk a little bit here maybe about some of those results from last week. We know it didn't. I'm worried about some of these games for our teams, but they are some pretty good ones too here this week. Our show is sponsored by Granite Mortgage, Lakeside Equipment, and are you Touchdown Plumbing? That's who I want to call when I have plumbing needs. Call Touchdown Plumbing, Dave, our new sponsor here for the East County Prep football coverage.
Yeah, our good friend Andy Fierro helped out with that one, and thanks, Andy, for always being dedicated to East County sports, helping out with the kids, getting more exposure. You know what I wanted to talk about? I got your text earlier this week. It might have been yesterday or Monday. Just wanted to share that in case somebody didn't know of what happened with Mission Hills and a coach that's possibly not going to be there any longer. Possibly another coach, and it'll be. But I was thinking maybe it would be a forfeit win, and maybe Granite Hills would get that a win out of the whole thing. I did check with Coach Cobbs so I could get the official word from him, and from what he's heard, the head coach for sure will not be back as the coach of the Mission Hills Grizzlies. So, if you wanted to lead into that one, we could.
Yeah, we'll go with Granite Hills first, Dave. I just want to make, in regards to that, Dave, Coach Hauser, someone we've actually known for, remember, he started kind of his coaching career as an assistant at Christian and, obviously was destined for a lot of success. And we'll see I have a feeling this is one of those you know, paperwork. I don't know. I have no idea. It was in the. It was released late last night on the Mission Hills app, and then covered today as well in the San Diego Union. So we really just don't know. Hauser's been there for 22 years. I mean, we go back to with Hauser back. Man, 25 or 30 years, it feels like. I guess not 30 for me. He was one of the coaches when I was just getting started doing this, not to call out coach for his age or my age or anything like that. He was a young man back then. And, I have a very high regard for Coach Hauser. So we'll just see what really becomes of that. I really hate it when there is some type of situation that gets these coaches in trouble for something probably isn't any of their doing or something like that. But I better stop talking about it now before I get us in trouble.
I'm sure my dad knew him well. If he knew you so well, I'm sure he had many conversations with the coach. Uh, I, I I'm just guessing, and that's all I'll say about it. Maybe it was something as simple as maybe somebody wasn't eligible or the paperwork didn't come back from a teacher. That's what I was thinking anyway.
Right. So we suspend our coaches for that, right? So I have a real hard time, uh, you know, uh, we'll see. Could it be, is it a witch hunt of some kind? Again, it's not even our district here or our community. So good luck to Coach Hauser. If he gets, there'll be other jobs for Coach Hauser. Believe me, I don't know unless there's something serious. But when you talk about three coaches, you're right. You're thinking administrative or could be. We've seen other types of on-field incidents where the coaching staff can tell, no, we don't have no idea. We have no clue. Let's get into our games here this week. Go ahead.
Since we were talking about Granite, I wanted to what I got from, and then we have some other things to add into it. But Coach Cobbs, I was asking him also about, more importantly, traveling up to Los Alamitos, which is quite the trek, especially in a bus. I've driven up there quite a few times, and he was saying that they are very good. He has very high regard, and he also said, because we talked about the Grizzlies and their front four, he said that they have an even better front four than Mission Hills had. Going to have to win on special teams. If they want to win this game, he's calling out his special teams in particular. Can't turn the ball over, and then to be more fluid on the depth of the routes. And it did seem like the timing was off quite a bit with Zach Benitez and his receivers. I don't know if it was the timing of the route or it didn't look like Granite Hills football to me in the way that they played so well. Being out there in Arizona, and he also said that they were battling team sickness from traveling to Arizona. Speaking of that, before and they had a lot of people out during the week of practice leading up to the Grizzlies game. That clearly showed in the way that they played. He's not blaming it all on that, but I'm sure that has quite of an effect if you're not able to practice more than 2 days and leading up to a big Mission Hills game, especially when you're playing against, that quarterback. I mean, he's already got a great offer. You're playing against a pro pretty much back there, and he looked exactly all of that. What do you think, Ramon? Granite Hills just didn't look they were no match offensively or defensively. They weren't even getting in there off the edge to give any trouble.
Yeah, I think Granite Hills has fallen out of the open division playoff contention. I think that's fair to say, and I think we can agree on that right now. I mean, it's not over yet, but they need some of those other teams here to lose right now because that turned out to be kind of a playoff game. We said there's 6 teams right now that could kind of get into the open division championship, the Final Four. And right now, I think we're down to 5 teams in that group: Lincoln, Mission Hills, Carlsbad, Cathedral Catholic, and La Costa Canyon. And I think from there, you'd go to Granite Hills and Rancho Bernardo. Rancho Bernardo is 3-0 also, but they're just not probably quite up with those other teams. They're kind of more in tune with the group below them that includes, Mount Miguel, San Marcos, Poway, Point Loma, Bishops, those type of teams. So Granite Hills is, Dave, you talked about them facing that tough schedule. They're taking on all comers. So head up to Orange County here to take on undefeated Los Alamitos. Granite Hills may have fallen this week to number 6 in our poll, number 6 in all the polls. Really, both rating systems also have them number 6 here. So Granite Hills is ranked by Max Preps 38th in the state heading into this game. Los Alamitos at 5-0, they're ranked 11th in the state. That is a big discrepancy of where teams stand when you're going up to Orange County to face the team. Zach Benitez, he continues to lead the way. He ranks second in the county with 1,150 yards passing so far this season. Davion Williams, he's been a great replacement in there, doing the job at running back, a star now, 335 yards on offense. Noah Walker's look good. Jacob Nunez, he has a East County co-leading 4 field goals this year, but the Griffins are off to their best start since the COVID year. They've beaten Inglewood barely, and Inglewood's pretty good. They went out to Kapolei, Hawaii, and won. They also beat Sarah High. So you're right, Dave. Los Alamitos is a veteran team. They're built on physical line play and a punishing front 7, couple guys running back and forth that will really test Granite's ability to protect Benitez here in this one. So hopefully Zach's got that, trigger ready, and hopefully they can get the ball out. It might be tough to go all the way downfield, so we'll see how Granite Hills designs their passing game, and if they can get Williams going to kind of loosen things up this week. I think it's going to be a very, very tough game. But look, it's not a problem. It's just that they've already lost one. You're not really going to get back into the open division unless things quote unquote open up. So I think when you're going against Los Alamitos here, you want to go in and you're facing a tough team. Just have a strong disciplined game, do the best you can. And, hey, this Eagle team, if they can keep it within 1 or even 2 scores, they've been known to be clutch. So I think it's going to be a Los Alamitos victory here. I'll take them by a couple of touchdowns. But, Granite Hills, I don't expect them to get blown out. They're very, very strong program still. It's not like we're going to go up there and, be overwhelmed by this team. I don't believe. I think the Eagles will be able to stay within a touchdown or 2 all the way throughout this game and be, competitive in the game. I just think they're dealing with basically almost a top 10 team in the entire state right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to utilize that as an excuse either. The traveling and then, the heat sickness and such. But again, missing practices, that's going to hurt also and that's going to affect the timing. It just didn't look like the Eagles have been prior to their other games that they're playing. I mean, they got a revenge over Perry, and they looked fantastic. And then they came into this game, and they didn't really lay a goose egg, but there's just some key plays that I saw, and I was wondering, why didn't you throw the ball away? Why did you hold the ball so long? I think we just tweak things a little bit. And I do think that special teams, it's going to come down to the field goal kicker. And I think it's also going to come down, hey, maybe we can get a run back and go 99 yards. That's what I see. And we cannot turn over the ball. No picks. We can't fumble the ball. We need to protect that ball. Even doing so, this is going to be a first this year, but because of the rankings and what I saw last week until further notice, I am actually going to take Los Alamitos by 10.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. And, look, just come out of there healthy. They'll be ready. Look, Granite Hills, Dave, is going to be one of the top 2 seeds in Division I. They're going to be straight on target for another section championship in the second biggest division in San Diego, Division One. Here, if they don't make it back to the open division, it's going to be hard, especially the fact that there's kind of five teams battling for four spots here. It looks like now. Remember, a couple meet, they'll play each other a little bit. They'll get some losses, but when you lose to, that was the good thing about Granite Hills' loss, if you will, is they were playing one of the other top, six teams in there. It really won't hurt their rating too much, but maybe one of those other teams would have to lose two games possibly for Granite Hills, and then Granite Hills will probably have to win this one to kind of make it. It still affects your rating the way we're doing things. So okay.
And Cathedral's just around the corner, so like you said, it never gets easy for them for the rest of the season.
Great games, great schedule. Granite Hills backing down to no one, and they shouldn't. They're one of the top. They're one of the top 6 or 7 programs in the county here right now. All right, no problem. Be a tough one, and we'll be watching that one for sure, Dave, no matter what. Okay, let's look at another one here involving top 15 teams here in the county. In fact, we have Poway, or I have Poway a little bit lower than the rest of the ranking services, but hey, no problem with who they've beaten. I mean, they've only lost to San Marcos and Carlsbad. Dave, those are 2 teams in the top 5 undefeated teams in the open division. So Poway, yeah, they're 2-2 now. They did get blown out in those games, but they've also dominated Ramona and Scripps Ranch, 2 pretty good programs on the road. So Poway's pretty good, no doubt about it. We know Mount Miguel's good, and man, Jeremiah Loper. Remember we said on the interview with I guess maybe I read that Loper was going to be in there, and I said, Coach, are we getting a scoop here? He says, not really. I think Loper's our quarterback for now, and man, he's looked good here in some of these games. And AJ Logan stepped up big time. He caught 2 touchdowns in last week's win against Torrey Pines. Dave, Mount Miguel did a great job. 14-10. It's not all about offense with Mount Miguel. They held Torrey Pines. Now, we knew it'd be a defensive game going in, but 2 clutch touchdowns, Loper to Logan in the game against Torrey Pines. Mount Miguel's passing game has been explosive. Logan had 105 yards last week. So Poway's strength remains its rushing game. Always. Luke Jorgensen is the man this year. He had 270 yards against Carlsbad, which is definitely a little bit intimidating. Right. They lost that game, but this one should be close. Mount Miguel trying to make a statement here against a closely rated opponent. Man, I really think that they can do it here, but oh boy, Poway has such a strong home field edge. I think this one could come down to like a 2-point conversion maybe at the end of the game, Dave. Man, I want to take Mount Miguel in this one, and I'm going to take Poway to win it by a point, but it's going to be that close, I think.
Well, because of the losses that the caliber of teams that they lost to, I mean that's the biggest point there. And then having a running game where you got a 270-yard rusher against a Carlsbad defense, that says a lot about the Titans. And I think that with this one, Mount Miguel's got a great air assault, but is their defense going to be able to corral this guy? Because it sounds like almost a Terrell Davis from back in the day at Lincoln. So I'm going to have to go with, unfortunately, Poway, and I'm going to go pretty near yours by a field goal.
I mentioned Carlsbad, Dave. There was a piece of news this week came out that Carlsbad will not have a game this week. Valley Center had to forfeit because of a number of injuries, and Carlsbad wasn't too happy about it, actually citing that they'll probably lose $25,000 because they won't have an opponent and they won't have a home game this season. Valley Center lost to Westview last week, 62-20. Remember, Grossmont kind of handled Westview pretty good, so you can only imagine what Carlsbad would do to Valley Center. Valley Center lost by 42 points to Westview, so Carlsbad would walk right through them, but they did eventually forfeit the game here this week, so Carlsbad won't have a game. They'll get a win, I think, here.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there a possibility I don't know if you recall, you remember a couple of years back, Tom Carlo was the coach of the Grossmont Foothillers, and they were able to get a team. I forget who they might have came from Orange County actually, and came down to play uh, the Hillers on their home field.
Mhm.
And is that a possibility that Carlsbad can do the same thing?
I don't think so because Carlsbad really need. First of all, you got to find an opponent that doesn't have a game, right? And then you got to find an opponent that, quite frankly,
Wants
is
to.
on the same level as Carlsbad. Otherwise, you're going to get the same situation there. Yeah, if you're going to make $25,000, maybe you ask Valley Center, hey, can we give you $7,500? Come in and play the game here. Well, maybe we'll play some backups. I don't know. I don't. I don't want to get in trouble.
I just thought I thought it'd be a possibility because I remember talking to Carlo and actually a long conversation just regarding how hard he worked to go out and make these phone calls and being on the phone all hours of the night and all throughout the day, just trying to fill his schedule because he didn't want to lose those points and the money as well. I mean, this is a big deal. Prep football is not going anywhere, folks. It's just getting started. It's huge. Not to mention the way flag is rising as well. So, job security for you and I, sir, until we decide we just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, we got some great matchups this week. Let's continue on here. This one's not great, I'll tell you that right now, but does involve two ranked teams in our top
Oof.
25. So, number 4, Cathedral Catholic takes its 3-0 record on the road to take on Helix. This will be the locally televised CIF game of the night, unfortunately. And Cathedral Catholic is likely to trounce the Highlanders here. Helix is off to their roughest start in 20 years at 1-3, ranked just 24th in our poll. They lost last week to Oceanside 41-14. But hey, Jeremy Robinson caught a touchdown pass from quarterback Caden Thompson, who was in there. He looks still trying to find the right hot hand at quarterback. So Cathedral, on the other hand, is back to looking like Cathedral, the perennial open division contender. They are number 2 in every poll but ours, where we have them number 4 still, or I do anyway. I have Mission Hills and Carlsbad currently ahead of Cathedral Catholic, but I'm sure by the end of the year, Cathedral will be back ready to rumble with Lincoln once again. Those will probably be the 4 teams in the open division there. La Costa Canyon might have something to say about it, but also, like I said, some of these teams will face off, and they'll have some winners and losers, and probably get down to 4 teams. So the Dons already have impressive wins over St. Francis and Chandler, Arizona. They have a strong defense and a big game pedigree, of course. They've handled Helix before. Helix has beaten them before, too, but Helix is down right now. Cathedral probably is a team that will challenge Lincoln. So I think Cathedral probably wins this one by at least 4 scores.
Yeah, I think it's.
Cathedral. Did I say Cathedral? Yeah.
I,
Sorry.
and then I know you said, and we talked about it before the show. You picked them at ranking Cathedral at number 4. I'm also ranking Cathedral at number 2, right behind Lincoln. I think the world is right now, but with good reason. They're back to the way of their good old Dons beating everybody and scoring often, playing good defense and scoring a lot of points. They're so quick. Great coaching staff, just a great program altogether, and it has been for a couple of decades. But I do remember Helix winning some of those games, maybe 10 years ago, when they were the Helix team that was dominating a lot of the teams in San Diego County, whether it be in the North or East County, and even traveling and beating some of those big teams in Orange County or wherever they were going to play. But they still got that quarterback situation, and it seems like we're right back where we were at this time last year. And this is not a time to be playing chess and having a quarterback decision to make, because Cathedral is they're going to be licking their chops. And like we talked about this game being the game of the week I think at the beginning of the season, and talking about how unfortunately it probably is going to be a trouncing on behalf of the Dons, unfortunately. Helix, boy, would I love for you guys to pull off the upset, and it would be the upset of the decade, if you ask me. Uh, but I definitely think let's make it a game. Let's not have a overwhelming 7 touchdown win. I'm hoping that the defense can hold them, and who knows, maybe take Cathedral by 2 touchdowns.
All right. All right, maybe it will work out. Okay, another one doesn't look too close here on paper, Dave, but hey, look, it's a rivalry game to a certain extent. They play for a trophy here. It'll be the battle for the Hamashaw helmet is back on here again this season with Steel Canyon taking on Valhalla. Steel Canyon's off to its best start since 2019, and they defeated quality opponents like Ramona, Madison, and last week they went up to a Rancho Christian in Temecula for a win. Quarterback Gavin Caja, he has thrown for 616 yards. Running back Abel Lopez had 150 yards and 2 touchdowns last week, but the star of the day was Gunnar Minute, who recorded a pair of touchdowns, including a pair of interceptions, including one for a touchdown. Dave, Gunnar Minute, could be Minich. I'll try to get it right here. Maybe we can get in touch with the Cougars and get that one. Valhalla, they're still searching for some consistency. They lost to Ramona last week. Talk about kind of comparing the opponents there, right? Steel Canyon handled Ramona pretty good, and Valhalla got shut out by him. But the Norsemen do have some standouts here right now. Brody Chartel leads all East County defenders with 32 total tackles, and Zach Hagar is tops in sacks with 3.5 this season. So, look, I'm kind of interested in Valhalla here, not in this game. I mean, I've got Steel Canyon by 5 or 6 touchdowns certainly here, but Valhalla's playing some tough teams, and I know we're talking about Monta Vista, Santana, Grossmont, West Hill, but you know what? Valhalla could beat. I don't think you'd say that Valhalla couldn't beat a team like West Hills. Maybe they could give Santana a battle, maybe even Monta Vista. I think Valhalla is looming to be a spoiler in the Grossmont Valley League, if not a outside contender.
Yeah, I think. I mean, right now, I think they definitely could be ahead of West Hills. But West Hills has just been barely losing these games, but they just don't have the offense, and that's where I definitely give the nod to Valhalla, and they do have an offensive attack, and they do score points typically, and I know they will in league play. I mean, right now, personally, I have Grossmont and Monta Vista at the top, but that could change at any point. But you're right. Valhalla could end up not finishing in the cellar this year. They could beat any of those teams, but I will tell you this. Steel Canyon is the surprise of the season, continues to be the surprise of the season, and they've been just playing their games. Kaha has been doing what he does best, slinging the pigskin, and they've been playing defense. I think they are definitely underranked. I would even say they should be, and this is myself, they should be more of a 16 or 17 as far as I'm concerned. They have been beating some quality teams. Unfortunately for Valhalla, I'm sorry. I'm going to take Steel Canyon by at least 3 touchdowns. They're just too good. They are on fire right now.
Credit Valhalla for still keeping this, rivalry alive. I'm surprised too, Dave. That, maybe I have them down here at number 21. right now. But the no one voted him also in the county media poll either. No one even voted him. Basically saying nobody has him in the top 10 is what it means, but no one even considered them at all here at 4-0 at this point. They have teams ranked higher. Some of the teams ranked higher in the Union Tribune poll include Santa Fe Christian, Bishops, Imperial, Central. Uh, these are undefeated teams. Olympian, I think Steel Canyon would beat Olympian for sure.
Easily.
Yeah, so it is kind of interesting there that people want to put some of those. Look, I've been a champion of these desert teams. If you look at our poll, I have teams like Central at number 16, Imperial at number 20, and I've given consideration to teams also like Holtville in there as well. So I give them their just due, but I don't know if we can put them necessarily in a top 10 to give them a vote. But I think Steel Canyon, you can definitely say, granted, maybe I'm a little low with them too, because I have Imperial ahead of them. I have Santa Fe Christian ahead of them. I have Central ahead of them. But you know what? Let's get a couple more wins here for Steel and see what happens. Remember, they will have have to play their Grossmont Hills League games, but watch out. Watch out, I don't know, watch out Helix, watch out Mount Miguel. Don't know if the Eagles, will be threatened too much by the Cougars, but there's no doubt the Cougars are playing hot here. And saw Dean in the chat. He said he liked them by 4 touchdowns. My storehouse Dean says Valhalla will struggle the rest of the year. Dean, the league that we're in here down here, they're going to be okay in that league. You're right. Maybe they will only beat the Braves, but there's not that much difference between the teams. I'm afraid right now in the Grossmont Valley. Yeah, Grossmont's looking pretty good. They'll probably be able to handle Valhalla, and we'll see what Monte Vista does with them. But looking forward to those games for sure. Okay.
Well, and I want to say,
Yeah.
Steel Canyon and how they're ranked, and they beat some quality opponents, and maybe that's what the media is looking for, is them to beat a couple more, and maybe beating those, like you said, beating some of those Hills teams. But let's not forget how many years, no matter what the records were, or somebody was down a little bit, Steel Canyon and Granite Hills always make sure you attend that game. If you can take your grandkids to that game where you got nothing going on Friday night, Granite Hills and Steel Canyon are always great games, and I don't care who's got the best record. I've been at many of them, and they were really outstanding games. I mean, you're holding your breath if it's going to end up being a 1-point game or 1 second on the clock. Definitely some good entertainment for the kids, and when that game comes up. But yeah, I think Steel Canyon can obviously handle some of those teams in the hills too. El Capitan, I think they'll be able to definitely compete, possibly defeat. And then, like I said, I mean, they can pretty much hold their own against any of Helix. It could be the Eagles and Steel Canyon when it's all said and done.
Okay, yeah, let me tell you, Dave. So the Cougars' schedule in the Hills League looks like this. So host El Cap. Okay, we know they should beat them. They'll be at Mount Miguel. That's going to be tougher, but they're playing well. They're at Helix. That makes it a little bit tougher, even though I think right now Steel Canyon, I have them ahead of Helix. They go on the road. That's going to make it close to even. Should Steel Canyon pull off those 3 victories, they'll host Granite Hills on the final night of the season. They'll host them at Cougar Stadium. So, well, we'll see.
And we've seen those, boy. I remember before they made their seating a lot better years ago, and I think you remember the game. It was Granite Hills at Steel, and the parking was just crazy. People double parking, and I think I even left the game early because it was so many people. I mean, one of the loudest games and very competitive. It was I loved it. It was a good time. Anyway, I got Steel Canyon by a couple of touchdowns. I hope the Norsemen score a couple of touchdowns, but this is going to be a real tough task.
Real tough, real tough. Okay, one more involving ranked teams, and we're going to get into a real good one here. But let's just mention this one, Dave, because this one is going to be played. It's Santa Fe at Christian. Technically, Christian, the home team. We get word that this one will be played at Grossmont High, not at Valley Stadium, on Friday night at 7:30, 7. Maybe make sure to get there at 7. Not sure of the time, but nonetheless, Santa Fe Christian and Christian will renew their small school rivalry. It nearly didn't happen. I don't know if it was an oversight or they didn't realize they didn't schedule each other, but it seemed like they added this one late to the schedule. We know the history between these two is rich, dates back a couple of decades. I've been covering these teams, and SFC has won 3 of the last 4 meetings, including last year's 21-6 win. Christian did win in 2023, however, 17-14. Santa Fe Christian comes in unbeaten, ranked 17th in our poll. They always have a pretty strong line, maybe more physical than Christian. They have junior quarterback Dax Labrum, who has already thrown 15 touchdowns with just 1 interception and more than 1,000 passing yards. These Eagles lean on their passing attack, with their ground game accounting for just 415 yards this season. So this is going to be good, Dave, with Caleb Brunkel out there as well. He ranks 3rd in the county in passing yards with 277. And you always mention how well Kai Rozier has looked.
Yes.
So far. He's the section's leader in receiving yards per game at 124.7. So that duel is going to need to connect, Dave. Christian's going to have a chance here to win, but I don't think it's going to hurt them necessarily. That's at Grossmont. They're going to feel more familiar at Valley Stadium. Technically Christian, they don't play any on-campus game. I was at an on-campus game once, Dave. They rented lights and everything and played it on that backfield back there. But here at Grossmont High, this is going to be a good game, man. I think Christian might be able to pull it off, but I'll take Santa Fe Christian by a point. Only because it's not at Valley Stadium. If it was at Valley Stadium, I'd say Christian wins by a point. That's how close I think it'll be.
Well, and let's also consider Christian coming off of that bye, and then boy, 2 back-to-back losses. One of them just a heartbreaker. They can beat some of these teams. I mean, there's only one that really, I wouldn't say pummeled them, but beat them convincingly. And the last game they played before they went on the bye, there was lots of flags, and that played a part in some of the game. But it had to be expected, okay? We did so well, and we moved up to this league, and now we're playing with the bigger boys. And so it was expected to be tougher for us, tougher competition, and they were up for the challenge, and I think they still remain to be up for the challenge. The season is not over by a long shot. They've lost 2 games, and I'll tell you, I think that actually feeds people like players like Caleb Runkle. He lives for stuff like that. And his key receiver this year, receiver Kai Rozier. And that's why they are 2 of the leaders. Maybe we'll get the young Moronis started. I've been talking about it all year, but hopefully he starts getting the ball as well and making some noise. More of a team effort. Let's open up the running the rock a little more, and maybe they have to get Caleb out there and stepping out of the pocket and doing some runs of his own. Because boy, we always remember that one that you've used for our opening before. I think it was for our previews, and Runkle. I think about 5 or 6 hits from, I think it was the Cavers, and they just couldn't bring him down. So very elusive, great arm. I think with this one here, it is going to be a close one. It is a great rival. I'm glad they fit this into the program, or should I say, into their schedule, so they didn't have a double bye and lose points that way. But I'm gonna call out my Christian Patriots, and I'm gonna say they are going to win by 3.
All right, go Patriots. Great game, great rivalry. At Grossmont High, remember everybody on Friday night, we're playing this one at Grossmont at Lieutenant Adams Field at Mashin uh, Stadium. So mentioned this week, Dave. Mentioned that stadium, and Jack Mashin, the great head coach of the Grossmont Foothillers, back. Well, let me tell you, Dave, back in 1924. I only mention it because when I went to write the story for La Jolla, I was looking up some research on the game, and uh, they had played each other in La Jolla's first season, Dave, in 1924. Grossmont and La Jolla played each other, home and home that year. There was that many teams. You played each team on the road and away at home. And Grossmont crushed La Jolla. They weren't quite. They were in their first season, but could you imagine what it was like, Dave, to go? I know there were cars, Dave, in 1924, right? I mean, the cars have been going for about 15 or 20 years, right? But could you imagine a dusty road traveling all the way from Grossmont High School to La Jolla? How did they do? How would they do? Would they go around like through Pacific Beach and up? Because could the cars even go up? There was no 52 freeway like into the La Jolla. You know how you go up there and it's all perfect and everything. How did they
Yeah.
do? And to 25 miles in some, probably just gotten in a bunch of cars or, but I don't know, were there horse-drawn carriages back then? I don't know.
Oh, there may have been, but I'm just thinking of how that coast runs, and I mean the 52 is not even that old as it is. Uh, I don't know the exact year that they put it in, but
Well, we didn't get it to, the freeway into Santee until like 1990, right? Or something like that.
yeah, and they had, and I even remember I worked at, there was a Precision Tune there, and I worked at that one, right, and they had to actually demo my shop. They had to put the freeway in. Of course, I transferred and
Yeah.
such, but I can't imagine that would be kind of cool to if somebody had uh, some old photos or something or black and whites of maybe
No, it's
maybe
funny.
the horse and
I
wagon.
also got a settlement out of that. I was rooming with Jason Bott at the time, the old
Oh boy.
SDSU baseball player and sports writer. He's done so many things in sports, broadcasting, producing. But we were roommates, and I think we got like $7,500 to move out. I think they said we're going to tear down these condos that we were living in and hit the road, Jack. But I couldn't imagine. Not only Dave, the funny thing about that is, so like so not only Dave did they play La Jolla in 1924, they also played teams like Escondido and Coronado. I mean, I'm sure they were driving cars back then, right?
They
19.
had to have been.
All right, talk about going down a rabbit hole. Okay, Dave, here we go. This is a game of the week. This is a game. Okay,
Yes,
look,
this
I mean,
is the
Granite
game of the
Hills.
week.
That's Granite Hills is a game of the week for another reason, right? Mount McGill Poway. But this is two East County teams going at it. This has got to be kind of our game of the week. It feels like to me with Monta Vista taking on El Capitan here in a closely rated game, no doubt about it. Monta Vista's coming off that thrilling 22-14 win over Coastal, keyed by Derek Taylor. He told us, right? I was like, "Hey, Derek, who scored?" He's like, "Oh, I did." Well, how about the other time? Oh, that was me also. So Derek Taylor was one of the stars there last week, but Deshaun Jenkins, he's been tough on defense. We talked to the guys about the defense in that game. Lakai Dean was on the interview as well. So great job by Monta Vista. Clutch defeating an undefeated Coastal Academy team. And, we were worried a little bit, and I'm still worried about Monta Vista a little bit offensively, Dave, but they're still taking on an El Capitan team that, well, what can you say, Dave? They have not scored. They're not scoring. Yes, they are scoring now. They've won two in a row. They beat Chula Vista. They beat Bonita Vista. Good for them. They're El Capitan. They're supposed to beat those teams. Every when they match up against them. But it was just tough for El Capitan offensively. They were definitely struggling, but the defense isn't struggling. Dave, they've given up 46 points in 4 games. Spencer Chastain, Bruin Ford, Lincoln Walker, Brian Benegas, all anchoring the front. Todd Carter in there getting the sacks with Ford. So this one, Dave, is to me it was a maybe too close to call, and I think you and I will go heads up probably in this one. I'll go ahead and take El Capitan to win it. On the column I said 20-17. They might not score 37 points between them. They might score 17 or 20 points in the whole game between them. I feel like I'm just trying to be a little bit generous. I'll call it El Capitan in the 20-17 range here. But this one, it might be like 7-0, 7-7, 14-7, 14-10, something right in there this week. Unless you think maybe we will get some offense finally.
Well, now I want to go back to last week. You were talking about Taylor with the touchdown. Now going back, correct me if I'm wrong. Taylor lost his helmet, and then his second string quarterback had to go in and actually scored the touchdown. It was a very short one. I want to say it was.
He told us who it was. I'll have to go back to the interview, Dave. You're right.
Yeah, it was crazy because he was telling us his helmet came off, and it was a short. We said, "Well, what happened? I mean, what kind of play?" Oh, he just ran it in for a touchdown. So nonchalant, the way Derek Taylor talks too. But that was a very interesting way to score. We'll have to get that name, but that's what I was remembering when we had that conversation. I can't agree more that El Capitan is there's nothing wrong with the defense, and there wasn't anything wrong in the first 2 games when they weren't able to get the offense started, but they finally have, and I think that their key is going to still be, like I said last week, is going to be Castillo. He is going to be I think just run it at him as long as you can. I think that they can air it out once in a while, but I got to tell you, I wouldn't suggest doing so because, what was it, 3 interceptions in that game? I believe from the secondary, Felix, I want to say, had 3 interceptions. Hey, and speak of right now, it just came in. Sean McDade just texted me right now, and his outlook on this game is says they play extremely hard as far as the Monarchs are concerned, and they are always disciplined in what they do. We have to stop the run early and not let the number 4 kid get behind us.
That's Rashawn Florence.
That's right. And Passanisi will be likely to be the quarterback to start all game. We are young on offense, but have started to figure some stuff out. So that's his coach, Sean McDade, defensive coordinator. That's his 2 cents. And boy, I wonder if he was watching us and he said, "I'm going to put my 2 cents in while they're talking about our team." But Passanisi has been very impressive in the last 2 games.
Yes.
But like I said, that secondary that Monte Vista has is pretty good, and they're ball hawks. And you remember he was kind of hiding his face when we were talking with the Monarchs, and we got him to talk to us. But
well, that's because all the kids hold their phone like this, and that's the way. And we're just happy to get them on the air. But us old guys, we go like this because it's more like
landscape.
TV.
Yeah. Landscape, kids. Landscape.
Your buddy, you're like, "Hey, buddy."
But at any rate,
that was awesome. Have them there after the game because they were stoked.
Oh, they were a great group of kids, and you can tell that they are definitely, there's no I in team in that squad. Uh, should be a great game. I think it's one of the top two for the week, and they played each other many a times. They know each other very well.
Mhm.
But this is, I'm going to take Monte Vista by 7.
Okay, I'll take El Cap. You take Monte Vista this week, and that'll be good because we want a little representation on both. And I think that's how the game is too. I don't think, to be if the coaches, you got to pump your guys up. But I think anybody who observes these teams, I don't know if I could call a winner between the two necessarily. It's kind of a weird, just a contrast right now. El Cap, look, Monte Vista is powerful and everything, but El Cap's had enough defense. Like I said, it's gonna be tough to score in this game. You mentioned Passanisi. Yeah, I think he's earned the job now. He was 9 of 15 last week for 122 yards. He threw a touchdown to Logan Dulea, and also Cole Margetts had that interception return for Benita Vista that kind of kept him in that game early. But behind Castillo and that rushing as well, he almost had 100 yards in that game for El Capitan. So that was a big sign too, I think. So that'll be a great one.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you can also remember there was one other Michael Castillo had a 50-yarder.
Yes, that's right. It was 50-yard run, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
and then Logan Dolia, I think I'm saying that right, had the 40-yard touchdown catch. And the defense held them to negative yard total offense. Bruin Ford, Bryce Benegas, Todd Carter, and Spencer Chastain.
Great. All right. Let's go now to down south
Ah,
here.
yes.
The Grossmont is going to take on Otay Ranch. And, well, you know what? That was a tough game playing La Jolla. They lost it 40-28 last week. Grossmont played pretty well in that game. Came up on the short end. Tyler Holmes did pass for 196 yards and also rushed for a couple of touchdowns. But how about running back Corbin Dow? He broke out with 112 yards rushing in that game. So we've always said Grossmont, they could get a little bit of rushing in there. That maybe would help their sometimes one-dimensional attack. So that was pretty good. It's just they were playing a pretty tough team, I think, in La Jolla. Otay Ranch, meanwhile, has been up and down as well. Interestingly, Dave, they played La Jolla and lost just 14-7, while Grossmont lost 40-28. So I don't know if you could draw anything from that. Otay Ranch did lose to San Diego 50-0. Now San Diego is a good undefeated team here, a little bit down in the polls, not recognized quite too much yet, but they did get more votes than Steel Canyon, I'll tell you that. The Mustangs will need a strong showing from their quarterback AJ Lopez and their defense to slow this Grossmont team down. I think Grossmont can come out of here with a win by at least by about a touchdown.
Yeah, and just a couple of things that Coach said about this game, too, when I was asking about injuries and his outlook on playing this team. And he's talking about how great he thinks the season has started off. Would have loved to pull it off against La Jolla, but that's football and life. He thinks Otay is a lot better than their record shows. I think against Otay they have a great quarterback and running back, so defensively need to contain them. Offensively need to be able to run the ball, as you've already mentioned. I think we have a good trio of ball carriers with Tyler, AJ, and Corbin, and we know how good he's been also, and who have all been running hard. We need to be able to hit some deep shots, which they have done all season in the past game, and take advantage of them trying to stop the run. Otherwise, he said he's pretty healthy aside from normal bumps and bruises, and I think he's feeling good about his team now. And I think with this one here, I know it was 50-0, and I'm not going to take it out all on the defense, but I'm going to say that Grossmont by 14.
Okay, we'll take Grossmont in that one. Okay, we've got a few more here to look at. Look at this, Castle Park taking on El Cajon Valley here. Both teams come in 1-3, but man, Dave, the Braves have right now the kind of the breakout star of the East County in Janvier Kashindi. He's really stepped up here. He rushed for 154 yards last week in a 23-8 win over Orange Glen. He has 316 yards this season and a couple of touchdowns last week. He also had an interception. So El Cajon Valley ground game has been averaging 5.7 yards per carry. So I think they should have some confidence here against the Castle Park team that fell to Monte Vista earlier this season and has only one win over Victory Christian. So look, I thought the Braves. I'm a little bit disappointed they're 1-3. I was thinking with these non-league games, they could at least win 3 of them. The best they can do is win 2 of them right now, and they'll have to do it this week against Castle Park. But they are at home, and I think they will beat Castle Park this week. It might be close. The rating services actually have El Cajon Valley by winning by 2 or 3 touchdowns, but I don't see them winning by more than a touchdown. But I'm going to take them here to beat Castle Park.
I'm going to take the Braves also by a touchdown. I think at least they'll get 2 of those non-league games under their belt and get ready for league.
Yep, and their big game will be against Valhalla, in the regular season, it feels like to me. That'll be a good one. Okay, a couple more real quick. Mountain Empire. Tough one last week against San Ysidro. It was a good game for sure. Mountain Empire has been one of the most improved teams in the section this season, even after last week's 27-19 loss to San Ysidro on the road. Running back Elisha LaShawn Robinson rushed for 100 yards and a touchdown for Mountain Empire. And Jason Landman had 9 tackles in the game. Tri-City Christian is winless, but they're playing at home. This is the league opener here, and the Red Sox still have shown more offensive punch and defensive toughness so far. I think Mountain Empire goes on the road here again. If I say again, right? Look, they've traveled from Pine Valley to San Ysidro last week. Now they've got to go from Pine Valley here up to play Tri-City Christian in the North County here. So those are tough trips, no doubt about it. When I get off the bus, I'm ready to hit something. So I think Mountain Empire will win this one by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think Coach Keller's he's going to get the troops rallied again. And I think there's no question that they take this one. It was definitely, I didn't think it was going to turn out that way against San Ysidro, but anytime you're taking a bus somewhere, it favors the home team, unfortunately, at least in theory. But I think the Red Hawks are still red hot, and I think that they're going to 3 touchdowns to beat Tri-City Christian.
And I want to tell everyone, if any of our Mountain Empire fans, we know that they've kind of latched on here a little bit because we're giving them some stories, we're giving them some coverage, but also check out the great photos last week from our Vic Morano. You can find him on Instagram at LV Morano, MARANA. If I am MARANA, right, Dave? Yeah, on Instagram, and got several photos of the Red Hawks last week. I'd probably say a couple dozen of them actually. World professional quality photos of some of the kids on Foothills, and we even got one of Coach Keller there last week.
Yes. I saw that one.
See those pictures, and hey, we shot them for you guys out there in Pine Valley. We know that there's probably some people taking some great pictures with the team and some parents maybe, but take a look at these photos that we took of the game. Yeah, too bad we lost, but look, Steel Canyon. Mountain Empire played pretty well in that game, and they're going to have a big season, I think, in this league for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're almost done with the show here, Dave. Foothills Christian's going on the road to take on Maranatha Christian. Maranatha Christian will win this game probably here by about 6 touchdowns. It's been rough so far for Foothills. They do have 2 standout players, 2 of the top statistical players in the county, in Jack Sudi, who has 477 rushing yards and ranks 14th in the county. And Mason Wilborn has 20 catches, among the top totals in the county here. But Maranatha Christian will beat this team. Okay, 1 hour, Dave, of previews. And I want to thank you for getting the show together, getting all those great quotes from the coaches here as well in timely fashion heading in to the weekend, and thank our sponsors. And then you can get us out of here. Anything else you have on your mind this week in East County Prep football?
No, I was trying to get some from assistant coach Moronis. He said he just saw my text. He'll try to get something later. He was working on some stuff for the team, so hopefully we'll get some stuff and we'll add it. And everybody can check it out at eastcountysports.com. I want to thank our sponsors: Granite Mortgage, Lakeside Equipment, and Touchdown Plumbing. Thanks for joining us and putting it out there and just giving us another outlet. So everybody go out there, support your teams, and we got a great week coming. For Ramon Scott, I'm Dave Dickens. Good evening, and have a great weekend.